Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and gamers everywhere. Welcome to Controller Chronicles. This is episode 2. What's up, everybody? I am your host for today's episode, RJ, Mr. Resident Justice himself, and I am joined, of course, as always, by my two co-hosts, the Friendly Neighborhood Meta and Mr. Blinded Braille. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. What's going on, everyone? Friendly Neighborhood Meta here. And I hope everyone's been having a great week so far.
Yeah. It's another week, another episode. Talk about some video games and some video game news, which is
I always think, like, are we going to have stuff to talk about? And then I forget that we're still in the middle of summer where news is abundant as a field of daisies. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to have
that's the funny thing about this period, right? It's low on game releases, right? We're kind of in the summer lull before fall and the busyness of the fall gaming season and all the releases coming out at once. But in terms of news, there's stuff to talk about. So that's always fun. So, as always, though, with Controller Chronicles, just like in the previous episode, we, of course, love to talk about what we're currently playing. So we are going to open the show today, as we always do, by talking about what we're currently playing. So, Meta, I will go to you first this week. What are you currently playing, and any games looking forward to coming out at the time of this recording?
So, right now, I am currently playing two different games. One, I am currently streaming. You know, I'm doing my road to Spider-Man 2, so I'm playing Spider-Man Remastered on my channel. If you want to watch that, a couple of episodes should already be out already. And then personally, I'm reconnecting with why I love games. I'm going back and playing all of my childhood favorites, and I'm starting with the one that makes sense. The very first game I owned for myself, Spyro the Dragon. I'm doing the reignited version, of course, but going back and playing Spyro, finding out like why that game was so awesome and fun as a kid, and it's still fun to this day. Like, I really hope that we see I really hope we see Spyro 4 next year, because I think next year is supposed to be the year of the dragon.
Yeah, it'll be great to see Spyro 4 launching exclusively on Xbox. That'd be a wonderful.
Shut up, gamers! Shut up! You do not know that. Shut up.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing.
It here.
Thank you for sharing that, Meta. Next, we'll go to Blinded. Blinded, what are you currently playing, and any game releases coming out this month at the time of recording that you're looking forward to?
It's the same game as always.
We still play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, like this is the month it should be done. I have one more shrine left, so. Yeah, but another game I was playing because last episode we talked about that is Splatoon 3, which I mentioned last week. But those are I like to stick with one game and see it all the way through and complete everything in the game. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. That's why it's hard for me to play a lot of open world games, because there's just so much to do, and I'm like, and I knew that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be like this, so and the end of this month, Starfield comes out. I'm going to be getting it early, so...
Yeah, real quick, how does that work? So it's going into early access?
It's not early access. You know how there's a lot of games that do this now where it comes out earlier if you buy the deluxe edition?
He's getting
that's right. So wait, when does Starfield come out again? I have to look this up.
It comes out September 6th.
Holy shit, it comes out
September 6th?
That's only like that's like
oh my god, that's like
that's 5 weeks, dude.
That's way closer than I thought it was. Okay.
And people were bitching about this game not being playable at XCOM. Like, it's 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's a lot. That's creeping up very closely. I had no idea. Okay. Well, oh geez. Okay. Gotta get ready for
that. Also, there's a rumor going around that Quake 2 might drop this month, so
ooh, that'd be big.
That'd be
big.
The remake?
Not a remake, a remaster, yeah. So if that does come out, I'll definitely check that out.
I'll say this, man. I got Quake 2 on PC. With the RTX. It's real nice. It's real fun. Just say it.
Yes. Yep.
The RTX filter makes that game just it actually looks really good for like when did that game come out again? Like the original?
Like early 90s.
Yeah, early
Yeah, so
90s,
the
late
RTX
90s.
really is making this 90s game looks really nice. I really like it.
Yeah. All right, nice. As for me, as always, I am still playing through Persona 4 Golden on the PlayStation 5. So, like I said, not too much progress, and I'll explain why in a second. But still make my way through that game. I'll hopefully be finishing it by the end of the month of August. So let's cross my fingers for that. The other game I recently started playing is I finally have decided to dive right into Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO, which I've been wanting to play for forever.
And they just announced a new expansion too.
They did, yeah. They just announced that it's getting a new expansion in summer of next year called Dawn Trail, which I'm very much looking forward to. That'll be my first actually playing an expansion at launch. That should be really exciting. So I'll make my way through that right now. I'd say I'm still within the Realm Reborn, the base game. Haven't got into any of the expansions yet.
Let me ask
I'm
you.
I'm like 20 hours in. I've barely done anything.
Hold on. Are you a new player, RJ?
Yeah, brand new. Yeah.
Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna piss off some of my personal friends with saying this.
Here we go.
RJ, we need to stream this. We need to stream us playing that game.
I'm not against it.
Not even stream it. Just like we need to start doing quests together because I've been wanting to dive into Final Fantasy 14 myself, and I do have friends that play it and they know because they're higher ranked than me, but they're willing to start over and play with me on a new level. But they know the game, so the surprise and shock factor is just not there because they're going to tell me everything. So,
well, I was going to mention, so just for context, so I am playing on Ultros. I think that's the World Primal server, whatever that is. I'm playing as an Arcanist who will eventually become a summoner. So I'm playing DPS class summoner is the goal where I'm going to almost level 30 where I can become a summoner. Yay! So that's fun. And again, I'm basically just like, I'm doing some of the side quests, but for right now, given it's just the Realm Reborn, it's not the expansions where like most of the heavy story is. I'm just going through the main quest line, which really, a Realm Reborn is kind of just like teaching you the ropes of how to play an MMO, right? It's kind of just like nice, holding your hand a little bit, but not too much, just letting you kind of just learn the ropes of the game. So that's how that's been. Like I said, I've been playing for about 20 to 22 hours, so I've been having a blast with that, and that's probably going to be one of my main games moving forward for a while because I would like to get more into that, and it's been a lot of fun. So,
all right, yeah. Well, like I said, I eventually want to get to it, but with what I'm doing in the background as far as like gaming goes, because again, I'm trying to start up stuff for my channel. I got a bit of a back catalog to get through.
Yeah, it's the cursed. Well, like I said, it's going to get, like, August pretty much is, like, because at the time of recording, we're still in August. This is, like, the 1 month I have to try and play catch up on my back catalog for what I have. Because once September hits, from then on, it's new game.
You know what's funny is that, like,
taking over all my time.
Looking at it from an entertainment perspective, Hollywood, the summer, so, like, from May to, like, to August, blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, and then September to December, the games industry's like, yeah, you see that wallet you were trying to put up? We'll take that.
Yeah, it's like big game after big game after big. It's crazy. it's especially this year in the fall. My God, it's crazy.
You were talking about games we're looking forward to. We didn't really say that, but since I started off, I'll
kind of light. I mean, there's 2 games coming out that are somewhat high profile, and that's Baldur's Gate 3 and Armored Core 6. Those are the 2.
I have friends that are excited for both of those. Armored Core 6 especially. I didn't realize how like far back that series goes, all the way to the original PlayStation. It's an old franchise. I did not know that. But like, I mean, next month is Braille's month because you get Starfield and Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 too.
And MK1. Combat Pack.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 does come out next month. I forgot.
And we have the Combat Pack with Omni-Man.
Homelander
and Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta hear John Cena talking to J.K. Simmons. I have to hear that. And I would think that John Cena is very approachable when doing that stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick up Mortal Kombat 1 on Xbox. That's probably what I'll play that on.
Probably it's going to be on Game Pass, right?
Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No.
Maybe later down the road, but yeah, not day one.
I normally end up getting the fighting games.
Well, because it's cross-play, so it doesn't really matter where you buy it on. So
right.
I got you. I'm saying like I normally get the fighting games, except for Injustice. I pick up Injustice day one because I just love that series, despite what it's done to the DC fandom. They're solid fighting games. I really like them, but and I just recently finished MK11's story, and it was really well done, even after. Anyway, I normally get those games after the complete edition is out because I just don't want to go through the wait period again of all these characters. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, I feel you. I am internally debating whether or not I want to, once I finish Persona 4 Golden, if I want to jump right into the spinoff games or if I want to jump into Persona 5, because I would like to play Persona 5 Royal before
Reload.
Before when not just before Reload, but also before Tactica.
Are you getting Tactica?
I'm planning on getting Tactica. Right now I have it pre-ordered on Amazon. I'm debating if it's going to be a launch game for me, though. I may have to wait to pick it up later. That's what I'm debating.
So for me, I messaged y'all this. For me, it is a day one get. I thought I was able to do some number crunching, and shout out to my Discover card, because not only did I have a $20 coupon through Best Buy, but I also had $35 that was saved through my Discover card. So with that, I was able to get Persona 5 Tactica for like I only had to pay like actual $18 out of pocket. Everything else was covered by my credit card and that gift certificate. So yeah, Tactica is going to be a day one purchase for me.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that it will be on Game Pass day one. So if I really want to play it and I can't afford it, it is there for me. So thank you, Xbox and Atlas partnership.
If we
coming
really
in
want
clutch,
someone, not to get on a quick divergent, just real quick, because I did hear this yesterday when I was listening to, I think his name is David JRPG. Anyway, Atlas content creator. He did mention that one of the reasons why he thinks that Atlas and even now Square Enix are finally bringing their games to Xbox is because of Game Pass. Because Game Pass, you can get a check for some amount of money, and they'll put them on Game Pass. That way, there's no like financial loss of units sold. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I still don't think really JRPGs do well on Xbox. Like they do have a fan base of JRPG players on Xbox, but I really do think they're a niche market on that system. So like them doing Game Pass makes sense. That way the JRPG fans get the games they want, but the companies don't take a real big financial loss when it comes to units sold on Xbox.
Interesting. Well, definitely we'll have to dive into the whole Game Pass model and how that works in a later episode. I feel like that'd be a very interesting conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
But that should wrap things up for our consistent what are we playing segment. Now let's jump into some lightning round news. First little one I want to talk about is apparently PlayStation games on Steam being released for PC are not doing very well. So this article comes to us from Gaming Bolt, who the headline here states, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart sees PlayStation's third worst Steam launch to date. The action platform repeated under 9,000 concurrent players on Steam at launch, which is PlayStation's third worst PC launch to date. So, yeah, so it kind of goes into it, but thus far, like a lot of the recent PC launches from PlayStation Studios games aren't doing that great. I mean, thus far, looking at the chart here, God of War is at number 1 with the peak concurrent user count of 73,529, followed up by Marvel Spider-Man Remastered at 66,436, Horizon Zero Dawn at 56,557, and then like a huge decline from there. I mean, because like Last of Us Part 1 has 36,496, and if you guys remember, that PC launch was atrocious. Last of Us Part 1 had a lot of issues at launch. It was broken.
It was broken.
It's a 20,000 player dip.
Yeah. So I guess, guys, I want to ask you, and we'll go to Meta first since he's the big PlayStation guy here. Why is it that these because, well, real quick, I want to say too, like, it's the third worst because, like, Returnal had 6,691 peak concurrent users. Sackboy: A Big Adventure only had 610 concurrent users. 610. And Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection only had 10,851. So what the heck is going on with these Sony PC launches?
So I'll say this first off, for the likes of Uncharted Legacy and Ratchet and Clank, why I understand why PlayStation doing this, because they are newer games on PS5. Well, the Uncharted Legacy is just a compilation of the PS4 games, but even then, it's just Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. That's the end of the game of the series. Why are we not seeing, like, if PlayStation's going to be committed to porting to PC, and this is a massive PlayStation guy saying this, they have to do more than just PS5 and PS4. Ratchet and Clank, especially, is a series that goes all the way back to the PS2. You can't just put the 6th game out there and expect it to sell like hotcakes. Of course, to the PlayStation fan base, they're going to buy it because it says here, right here, it sold over 1.1 million units as of July 21 on PS5, and that's because the PlayStation fan base is committed to Ratchet and Clank. That is a PlayStation staple that came out right alongside, Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper. So we are committed to watching this story unfold because we've been with them for 2 decades now. But PC people and Xbox people that don't know this series, they're not going to be as invested. And also, I saw this stupid thing. There was this stupid controversy, and it was proven false. This, of course, was proven false. But, when Ratchet and Clank was being shown off in the original PlayStation Showcase that showed it, somebody took what one of the creators or developers said out of context and said that it can only run on a PS5. They did. I don't know if y'all saw this, but
it wasn't just the PS5. You're talking about Ratchet and Clank, right?
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Yeah,
there was the claim back when the game launched that it couldn't run on an SSD, not specifically a PS5, an SSD. And recently, people have been showing that the game can run on a standard hard drive, right? So that claim that I think Mark Cerny or someone at PlayStation
it wasn't Mark. It was one of the developers from Insomniac said it.
Okay, right. But I mean, they're wrong, but they were also right at the time because there was no PC port of Ratchet, right? And it couldn't run on a base PS4 or PS4 Pro for that reason. And when you actually see the footage of it running on a hard drive, when you get to those Rift moments where you're jumping through the portal, it actually stutters. Which proves
it chugs like crazy. It barely functions.
Right. Which you can play it, but it's not really playable, right? And so
there's a
they're kind of right about that.
There's a video I saw that breaks down that controversy, the guy did a really well done job of doing his research, and the way he talked about the controversy and how it really was a false narrative because what he actually said was taken out of context. I'll share that with y'all after this episode, but yeah, so there's a lot of reasons why this isn't selling well, but again, and people are like, well, Meta, what about God of War? Because God of War is another entry in the God of War series. True, but God of War is also, it was a soft reboot. Mm-hmm. It was a fresh start for those that did not play the PS2 and PS3 games. You could start from God of War and be absolutely fine not playing the other ones as someone who's played all of them. So that's why the player base
reboot in a way.
It's a soft reboot. It's a very soft reboot. And Spider-Man Remastered, it's the first game in its it's Spider-Man, and it's the first game in its trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to consider too is I just don't think PC players care about the style of
PlayStation.
PlayStation games.
That's
Yeah,
I think that I don't think PC players also care either. Like
yeah,
it really is, and that explains like why Returnal, a new IP, only has a concurrent player base of 6,600 people. And as
right.
far as Sackboy goes, Sackboy is such a niche PS3 character. You really could argue that he is the face of the PS3. I think you could
I
make
mean,
that
well, I
argument.
wouldn't
He
say
kind of was a
niche.
mascot character in a
Yeah,
way.
He was a mascot character. What I'm saying though is like, other than the Little Big Planet games, Sackboy hasn't really done anything. This is the first like platformer they're using him for.
right.
And it's not a terrible game. It's a fun little time. It's fun. It's a fun old time. But what's interesting is the dip between Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales. That's a big difference. And what surprises me is Days Gone. Days Gone is in the top 5 of PlayStation titles that have a good concurrent player base. That actually like surprises me. But yeah, I think like moving forward, PlayStation has to be more tactical with what they release on PC. I have said this. I understand their business model with releasing on PC. It makes sense for what they're trying to do. They're not Microsoft. They can't just day and date this shit like that. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
but they just have to be more selective, I think, and like consider what games should be ported to PC next, and not just be like, well, this game's been out for a year on PS5, throw it to PC. Like, no, like be thoughtful.
I mean, sometimes it'll work, but sometimes it won't. It really depends on the game. It depends on the conditions of just the market in general too.
I'll tell you a damn PS4 game that would sell like hotcakes if they ported it to PC. It's never going to happen though. It may never happen, but if they
I can tell you right now what it is.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne. Bloodborne would be a killer game on PC. That would sell like hotcakes.
Mostly because the fans could finally get into the source code and finish the game.
No, man.
We're not finished the game, but we're like, put all the unfinished content in the game.
I mean, yeah. Plus, it's just a great game, and I think it would just do extraordinary.
Exactly. So, like, I'm hoping, and normally when they do a PC release like that for a game like Remaster, so like for Uncharted, they did the Legacy of Thieves collection for PS5 and PC. They would have to do that for Bloodborne, where they release a PS5 version and a PC version, which is an updated version.
Right.
And there is the rumor that Bluepoint is making a rumored sequel, but that's speculatory at best.
I still think the rumor of a Bloodborne like remake makes a lot of sense, or like some kind of like PS5 port where it's like a brand new version of the game made by Bluepoint. It makes I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But
I'm just saying though, like PlayStation has to be more selective, and I would say if I could be a part of those board meetings, I would say, guys, you need to look outside PS5, PS4. Look outside of the last decade. Look at your legacy, because I guarantee you, some of those older games being available on PC were a lot like, especially on services like GOG, where like old PC games like from the 80s and 90s thrive. You could definitely put those on GOG and make a fortune. Like putting Twisted Metal 1 and 2 that just dropped on PS5, $10 each on PC. Yeah, you would sell a good couple of units that way, and that's just me though.
I think they need to put games that are more tailored to the PC audience, because like PC gamers, like for a good while they were making fun of PlayStation games, so I could see why like they ain't buying them. Like they used to make fun of Uncharted, so I mean it makes sense it's not selling.
Yeah,
like put Bloodborne and Demon Souls and you'll probably make more money.
Yeah, I think Demon Souls on PC be a great get.
Oh yeah, Demon Souls. That's another one that needs to be on PC. Is Demon Souls remake? It's been more than a year now. It's been 3 years since that game was on PS5. Why is it not coming to PC?
It'll probably come after Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2, I bet.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima would do. I think Ghost of Tsushima's numbers will be really good because that game is just solid.
Hopefully, when they do port Last of Us Part 2 to PC, it won't be as.
They're going to port Last of Us Part 2 when they release that remake. They're not remake, the remaster for a PS5. Yeah. That's what they'll do. They'll remaster Part 2 for PS5, and then they'll release for PC.
Right.
Even though it really doesn't need it, because that game was making my PS4 sweat bullets. It was sound like a jet engine taking off with how good that game looked.
Right.
Mm.
Well, that kind of also ties into the next point too for our lightning round news, and that's apparently that a PS5 Pro is in development for potential release next year.
Yeah, so
Right.
I have this right here. Mind you that this is supposedly from PS5 Themes. I don't know how reliable that is. It's from a Twitter account, but basically it's just like the bullet points of the update for PS5 Pro. PS5 Pro will be using a 4nm chip according to AMD leaker Kepler. Previous roundup called Project Trinity. PlayStation 5 Pro will be targeting improved and consistent FPS at 4K resolution. New performance mode for 8K resolution. We don't even have 8K TVs yet affordable, but anyway. Accelerated ray tracing, 30 WGP, and let's see, 118. I can't read this. Ones in hundreds. Yeah, 18,000 MTS memory. Demo events going on right now. Dev kits are out to majority of studios as of November. By November of this year, they're looking at a November 24 release date. Which, yeah, that ties into another thing we're going to talk about in just a moment. But yeah, it's interesting because we haven't even really hit, I think, the full potential of the PS5 because PlayStation just can't let go of the PS4. But also, I hate to tie this back to them again, but if Xbox could get rid of that damn potato of a system, we would not have to worry about games and shit being held back. Because if you look at God of War Ragnarok on PS5 or how Spider-Man 2 looks on PS5, that's solid 60 FPS, solid frame rate, graphics look good, like gameplay looks solid. Like I'm just saying, like we're being held back because, and it's for a reasonable understanding. It's for an understandable reason. The player base just hasn't been able to transfer because of everything going on in the world. Like these consoles are expensive. And what's even funnier is that like recently on PlayStation.com and a few other websites, the PS5 regular console, the disc version, is actually cheaper than the digital edition now. They're trying to clear room and their in their warehouses for this PS5 Pro.
Or the PS5 Slim.
Or the
detachable.
PS5 Slim.
Yeah.
Either one. We did hear reports that this generation for PlayStation and Xbox will end in 2028, which I think that's still too short of a time span. But anyway, I digress on that point. But yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on all of this?
I mean, it's so obvious that Jim Ryan is just copying the blueprint of the PS4. The PS4 Pro sold really well, and so it feels like, oh, why don't we make a PS5 Pro? But the thing is, it's not. This is another thing that I don't like with the console space that's going on. This obsession with the graphics and performance, which is really bizarre to me. Like, there's no way that some of these games, even on a PS5 Pro, is going to run 4K 60, right? And if you really wanted 4K 60 with some of these games, why don't you go and buy a PC with like a 480?
So
right?
that's
like, if you want bleeding edge, buy a PC.
That's the thing, though. Braille, is that like I have a PS5 and a PC. I'm using it right now. The PS5, relatively speaking, was cheaper than just the PC alone that I got. To get a decent PC, like a really good decent PC to run some.
Yeah, it's going to be expensive. But why would you expect that for a console? A console has to be affordable. So that's my point.
They're saying that they're also saying that the regular PS5's price will go down, just like for the PS4. No, when the PS4 Pro came out, the PS4's price point went down because the PS4 Pro, the PS4 took that slot. So I'm saying they could do the same thing with the 5.
I get that. That's not really my point. My point is that a PS5 Pro seems really redundant when most of this console hasn't even been pushed, in the sense where we're not getting bleeding edge games. Some games that are only on PS5 are now rumored to get PS4 ports. like Star Wars Survivor.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that was going to be a topic I wanted to do really quick for the lightning round as well. I don't know if you guys saw this, but during the EA quarterly report, they were praising Jedi Survivor, saying how well it's sold and how well it's engaged players who are I think over 60 to 70% completed the game, which is great retention for a single player game, and they're very happy with it. But also, what shocked me is that they confirmed that Respawn is now hard at work at a PS4 and Xbox One port for Jedi Survivor, which blows me away. I'm like, really? You're going to port this game to the last gen?
It's crazy
to me.
It's great.
To make money.
Well, yeah, because they know it's going to sell.
Exactly.
But that's crazy to me that there's
it's going to be a shit port.
But either way,
I mean, money. It's probably going to make money if it runs at 30 FPS or, at some low resolution. I guess it's fine for them, right? The people who are still on PS4. So that's my problem with this PS5 Pro. It's like, if you want the bleeding edge and you want 4K 60, right? Go buy a PC, right? I'm sure all these PlayStation games are going to come to PC eventually, right? And they got to stop focusing on it because there's going to be a ceiling for these consoles. It's not.
My
it's
whole
not like
thing
PC.
too is just based on what the rumors are about the PS5 Pro. Nothing about it tells me that this is going to be a worthwhile upgrade. Like, I'm fine with what I have now because am I really going to need 8K? Not really.
Like I said, 8K TVs aren't even affordable on the market yet.
Exactly. So what's the even point of advertising that? It just doesn't make any sense.
I think it is going to be instead a redesign and a slim version with the optional disk drive. I think that is going to be what this is instead of a Pro, because that just makes more sense, right? Like, it just makes more sense, and that will be relatively, if it's the same price as the digital edition, it should take that place and just sell the disk drive as an add-on.
Right.
I think that makes more sense for Sony than a PS5 Pro at this moment. We really just need to, again, though, drop PS4, drop Xbox One. Hope we lost RJ.
Oh, he'll be back. Something must happen.
Yeah, there's a storm that hit him, but it's fine. Excuse me. But yeah, we haven't even, I agree with you on that front, Braille, that we haven't even hit the precipice of what the PS5 can do because we're being held back by consumer, not even consumer. It is corporate greed to an extent, but when you have the player base that's just, they're not able to transition as fast as they were from the PS3 to the PS4, and that is due to outside reasons,
right?
Mostly inflation and what's happening with the economy, because the economy does affect consumer purchases. So there's that.
I also think too it's optimization with some of these developers. I mean, we've seen it with Jedi Survivor again. That game wasn't optimized on the performance mode, which is kind of weird. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, some of these devs, I'm not accusing all devs of doing this, but there are those devs that, again, they have that option for the performance mode and the what's it called, the performance, and you can focus on frame rate, you can focus on graphics.
Yeah, fidelity.
So I always do frame rate because I don't care if the game is going to look good either way. I just want it to run smooth, and I'm not frozen in the middle of an attack and I get hit, and I could have prevented that. So
right.
That's what I always focus on. But yeah, I'm just, and then again, it's the Xbox Series S. I get why they did it. It is an affordable console, and they are making now a 1 terabyte edition. I think that's so dumb.
Well, it's their best-selling console, so I'm not surprised.
It is their best-selling console, but it's because when the fucking shortage happened, all that was available was Series S's. Because everyone wants the disc version. Nobody wanted that little potato.
Well, if you think about it, though, right? Because I have a Series S. I never really played on Xbox like that. So I bought that because I don't have a physical library, right? Like my PlayStation. So I mean, I'm sure they even said, I think recently, that most of the people who are coming to Xbox who buy a Series S have never played on Xbox, right? So I think that's also something to consider where, I don't really see the reason why most people would jump into the Series X unless you already had an Xbox or if you really care about the performance, right? Because most people's main console is going to be a PS5.
Like that's my and honestly, I could use that same argument though that you just used. Like if you want to play Xbox games, just get a PC.
Yeah, I got a PC.
Get
That's
a PC because they're on there.
It's true though.
That's what I'm using to play my Xbox games is Steam. I have Halo and a few other Microsoft games through Steam.
But you don't really need an Xbox if you have a PC.
But the developers have said, and they have proven this, that when they are working on frame rate for a game, they have to adjust it to the lowest common denominator, which will be the Series S. So the reason why, for example, because this was a big point of contention for this game, when Gotham Knights was coming out and they announced the frame rate would be 30, everyone's in the chat whining and bitching and moaning, but they're blaming WB when they're just, as developers, they said, we have to convert this to the lowest common denominator, which is the Series S. Which
to be honest, that story was weird because they were dishonest at first when told, is it going to have a performance mode? They never answered the question until I think 3 weeks until release, and so a lot of people were upset by that. And they gave their reason. It's the tethering of why it's 30 FPS, right? The untethered mode because it's a cooperative game,
right?
So, but I understand that now. But I just think these other
developers have come out and said it as well, though, that it's the Series S that's holding this generation back more than even last gen players not converting over to the new gen.
Right. I mean, well, there's some cases where it's like in Baldur's Gate, it's because the game is split screen, and so it has to run the games two versions of the game simultaneously, right? So I just feel like some of these developers and a lot of the gamers now, and this is going to be a hot take, they care way too much about fidelity, and I mean, I care mostly about performance. I would rather have a game at 60 FPS than play it at 4K 30.
I would agree with that. I care more about the frames per second versus anything else.
Right.
Performance matters more to me. I mean, listen, I want my games to look nice, but if I had to get 1080p 60, I'm okay with that,
Yeah. I mean, I would rather play. I have a 4K monitor, so I'd rather play at 1440p. But I mean, with these consoles, sometimes it's not possible. But I just feel like this trend of chasing fidelity and graphics, and it has to be bleeding edge and photorealistic, and then not focus on the gameplay. It's just a pretty looking game. That's the part that I'm like, come on, man. And PlayStation is guilty of this now. It's just make a, I care more about the physics of the game. Well, yeah, I want to see them push things like physics. Physics have kind of disappeared in games, right? Where it's I want to see a wall explode. If you played Control, that game has crazy physics, right? Where you can blow out walls and do a bunch of crazy stuff with it. And I wish more developers focused on that instead of graphics, because that's obviously taxing on hardware too, right? So I don't know. The gaming industry and its trends are weird. It's all over the place, but yeah, that's my take on it.
We've been getting though to, it feels like since the PS3 era, companies have been pushing for more realistic graphics every generation since. The era of not worrying about if the game is going to be fun. And I want to stress, this is a AAA games industry issue. The indie game scene, I think, whole different play field, a whole different area that we're talking about. This is a AAA games issue that they focus on that stuff more than fun, whereas indie games focus more on fun than anything else. There's a lot of games
mechanics,
and mechanics. That's what I'm saying. The indie game genre tackles some of the critiques that we're talking about, but we just want the AAA games industry to go back to doing some of that or more of that than it's currently doing.
Yeah, I think what you guys brought up is very valid points regarding this, but it's time to move on to our next little lightning round topic, the final one before we get into our main topic for today's episode. That's apparently that a remake of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is at development at Virtuos Games. Virtuos Games is working on 5 different projects, arguably the biggest of which is Project Alter, which they're describing as a remaster/remake of Oblivion. Now, this is just a rumor, so until it's officially announced, just take it as such, but apparently they are working on a remake of The Elder Scrolls 4. How do we feel about that?
I am not surprised. They milked Skyrim to death, and they're like, F, how do we milk this franchise until 6 comes out?
Right,
So,
it's like they know that, hey, 6 is going to be a while, so might as well figure something else out.
I mean, but
right.
I do agree that milking franchises can be wrong. However,
Well, it's not even franchise. It's just one game. One game they milk.
I'm just saying that, like, it's starting off with, you said it was Morrowind, right? Or no, it was Oblivion.
Yes.
Yeah, Oblivion.
So
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake.
So Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a while, especially with Starfield. Probably going to get some content updates. I kind of hope it gets content updates, but that's just me. If
They said that it will, by the way.
Okay, well then in that case, you need something to fill that Elder Scrolls. You need something to fill that void until 6 comes out. You have Avowed, which is in the Pillar Eternities universe by Obsidian. That's going to be a fun time to be had. So remaking Oblivion, and I would even say Morrowind as well. Those are 2 fun games that could really use a little bit of polish and updating, especially since I discovered either one of them or both of them don't even have like a map or a world map. That really that hinders my fun. That hinders my experience with games when they don't have a map and I don't know where the fuck I'm going. So I'm just saying.
It's about the journey.
Fuck that. How can I go on the journey, RJ, if I don't know where I'm going?
You don't need a map. Just follow your compass.
You're right. You're right. I can do what we can do what Ghost of Tsushima did. We can do what Ghost of Tsushima did, where if you rub the touchpad, the wind will guide you on which way to go.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
It was cool, but I was just like, you can't just have a map in the corner. Like, come
Honestly,
on.
I prefer no HUDs on my games now. I just don't want to see any HUD.
God.
Yeah.
I need a HUD. I'm sorry.
In Zelda, I play in pro mode all the time because it's just annoying.
I need to know where the hell I'm going. I'm sorry. I do. I really do.
I just like to explore and figure things out on my own. So, you know.
But all in all, like I do think that this is something good for Microsoft. If anybody could hop on the remastered trend fad, is Microsoft, because they're about to acquire a absolute vault of IPs. So I think this could just be the first of very many remasters, re-releases, remakes that we see.
We're all expecting though Oblivion, if this is true, it probably will be Xbox exclusive then, right?
So here's my thing with that, right? This is my point of contention with that. Elder Scrolls as a series has always been multi-platform. And Microsoft said under oath, and when they also bought ZeniMax, when it comes to old IPs such as Elder Scrolls and Fallout, we will not divide the fan bases. We are not in the business of dividing up these fan bases. However, when it comes to new IPs like Starfield, we make the choice on if they become exclusive or not. And it seems like for most of the new IPs they've acquired, they have decided to make them exclusive. Hi-Fi Rush is another example of this. Redfall, another example of this. New IPs are becoming exclusive. Fine. Despite what other stuff happened with them, fine. New IPs. Okay. I'm just saying, though, Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout have a massive fan base on PlayStation. I am a Fallout fan. And I'm somewhat of an Elder Scrolls fan because Skyrim is fun. Skyrim is fun to play. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm just saying, you can't... I'm really going to hold them accountable for not dividing this fan base. If they say it's an exclusive, at least to me, they've lied. They've lied twice now. Or more than twice now, but they've lied again. They did the biggest lie possible. That's just me, though.
That's Phil Spencer for you.
No, I thought that was Lion Ryan.
Hey, they both lie in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the Oblivion news. We'll see what happens with that. But now it's time to talk about our main topic for today's episode, and that is all focused around Nintendo. So to open this, I would like to present. So Nintendo did their quarterly update to their shareholders and to the public. So let's take a quick look at some of the sales that's going on. So the Switch has sold 129 million copies thus far. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has now reached 55.46 million copies. Animal Crossing New Horizons has now sold 42.79 million copies. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 31.77 million. Zelda Breath of the Wild is at 30.65 million. Super Mario Odyssey at 26.44 million. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has now sold 18.51 million units in just under 2 months. Crazy. And then we look down here a little bit. Nintendo confirmed that this was the best Q1 for Switch ever in terms of first-party software sell-through, thanks to Zelda. So they've updated with some other stuff too. But yeah, Nintendo is doing very well. They also have their update for some of their upcoming releases. So they have Pikmin 4, Detective Pikachu Returns, Mario Bros. Wonder, WarioWare Move It, Super Mario RPG, and then for 2024, they have Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Remaster, Princess Peach Game, and Metroid Prime 4, all scheduled for 2024. And Metroid Prime 4 is listed as a Switch game for a TBA release date.
Oh, we can talk about Metroid in just.
Well, Metroid Prime 4 is still listed as a Switch game, though. I want to make that very clear.
It's again, we can talk about that in just a moment. I can't see. Did you talk about the other bestsellers yet, RJ?
Well, they had some other ones. Yeah, I mean, they did mention some Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Mario Party, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is already at number 9 for the best-selling Switch game ever. Right. It was like the top 10. So.
I love what this says down here at the bottom, though. It took Breath of the Wild 6+ years to hit 30 million. Tears of the Kingdom is 50% there in 1.5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Extremely well.
What's
goes to show how good the Switch has been doing.
What's interesting, gentlemen, is that the current Switch number of units sold is 129.53 or 129.53 million.
Mm-hmm.
PS2 is at 158. That's it. Still holds the reign for the highest selling console of all time. The Switch can possibly break that number, even with a possible new system coming out next year. I really do think if Nintendo plays their cards right, they could have the highest selling system of all time with the Nintendo Switch. And again, massive PlayStation fans saying this, it would be crazy though to see.
We'll see. I don't think it will, because I do think Switch sales are starting to slow down, which is why we're getting into the next little bit here. And that is the big news of the last few days at the time of this recording. And this comes to us from VGC, who is now reporting that according to their sources, Nintendo is targeting a 2024 release date for their next-gen consoles. That is next year, folks. So let me read a little bit here. This comes to us from Andy Robertson of VGC. Key partners have development kits ahead of a planned launch. They are now so these development kits are now with key partner studios with a launch plan for late next year. So this is saying, according to multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next-gen console plans, the company is likely to release new hardware during the second half of 2024 to ensure that it has ample stock available on day one and to avoid the kind of shortage seen with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Although specific details on the console are being kept closely guarded, those VGC spoke to has indicated that the next-gen console will be able to be used in portable mode similar to the Nintendo Switch. In addition, two sources spoken with suggested the console could launch with an LCD screen instead of the more premium OLED screen in order to bring costs down. I don't like that, especially considering the increased storage need for high-fidelity games. The current Switch comes with just 32 gigabytes of internal memory, while many current-gen PlayStation, Xbox games are over 100 gigabytes. Like its predecessor, this new Nintendo console will accept physical games via a cartridge slot. Other details such as backwards compatibility support for Switch games, both physical and digital, remain unclear. Nintendo has said it wants to convert as many Switch's 100 million user base as possible to its next system, although some third-party publishers are said to have to have expressed concern that legacy support for Switch games could negatively affect sales of next-gen titles. And that's a bunch of malarkey. We'll get to that for a second.
Yeah.
Then they did not respond for comment. Okay, so let's recap. Big news here. Fall 2024 launch for a next-gen console. They want it to be as readily stocked as possible compared to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S launches. In addition, it could launch with an LCD screen like the original Switch instead of an OLED. And apparently it will have more storage than the original Switch. And the other thing is that we have no clue what backwards compatibility looks like. But thus far, all we know is that third parties have raised concerns because they think it could impact sales of their games.
Do we want to start there?
I'll start there. I think it's. Excuse me. I think it's
just like I think that's a bunch of
bullshit. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. What that tells me is that the third parties are telling Nintendo, if you make this backwards compatible, Nintendo, we can't sell remasters and ports of the games. We can't.
The same shit that's already on the Switch.
Yeah, we can't milk your customers.
Again,
don't do that to us. We need to milk these customers.
That hasn't stopped them being on Xbox. Xbox is a master of backwards compatibility, yet they still make the re-release. They do the re-releases for Xbox. PlayStation was good at backwards compatibility once upon a time. They're getting better at it. I'm still waiting on the PS3 update. Anyway, yeah, it's a bunch of crap. These companies do not want. They're again greed. Greed is the biggest factor in a lot of these industries right now, and I'm getting sick of it. I really am. Because that's not going to stop the remakes. Like, again, we have like PS5, right? Or current systems like the Xbox and PlayStation. You can play the original Final Fantasy VII. It is digital, but you can still play it. But that doesn't stop people from playing the remake of 7. Like,
yeah, to be honest, I hope that Nintendo doesn't listen to these third-party publishers because I don't think they're coming into this with like a valid concern that's coming from a good place. It's coming from a place.
It's a personal concern.
We want to make more money. Don't do this. Even though my whole thing is that basically, personally, I think that Nintendo, if they want to bring in as many people from Switch to the next console as possible, you have to have backwards compatibility. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It needs to be backwards compatible. It needs to be as seamless of a transition as possible. Which, to be fair, they've not. I mean, the closest comparison is Wii to Wii U, although that wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good.
No. Like Nintendo for the past few systems, up until the Switch, because they changed the cartridges again. That small little anyway.
Right.
So from GameCube to Wii, GameCube games were backwards compatible on the Wii. And then from Wii to Wii U, Wii games were backwards compatible on the Wii U. So for a good 3 generations, they were consistent with backwards compatibility. And remasters still came out, ports still came out, and they were bought on Nintendo consoles. Except for the Wii U, because Wii U didn't have that good third backwards compatibility, but I digress. Yeah. Nintendo needs to look at it like this. I agree with you, RJ. They need to look at it like this. This concern sounds like a personal issue of you making profit that would affect me making profit as Nintendo.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. I think backwards compatibility, if they don't have that for their next console, it's a bust. And I think they know that. To be fair, I think they know that. The fact that seemingly the next console will have cartridges just like the Switch tells me that it probably will just be the same kind of cartridges, and they probably always have bigger storage in them.
Well, I mean, the different DSs had different cartridge styles and sizes, so
yeah, that's what I mean. So, but it's still, I think it will be backwards compatible no matter what.
Hell, even then,
unless they do what they did with the 3DS.
Oh yeah. Let's not do that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But even then, I just realized like the fucking Nintendo DS was backwards compatible with the Game Boy Advance. Like Nintendo has been kind of consistent with backwards compatibility for their hardware. It's the digital front where they suck at. But again, digress.
Well, but they did say recently, Nintendo themselves said that the eShop and all the digital stuff on the Switch would carry over to another system. So that is confirmed by them. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
That's good.
But if you remember back when we did like the first episode, I mean, we were really talking about like Nintendo's future, and I kind of said and I think we all kind of agree. It felt like next year is the swan song year for the Switch, and this kind of lines up where it's like that first half of the year probably be very Mario heavy with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Remastered and the Princess Peach game, leading into the fall, where you could potentially see Metroid Prime 4 be a dual release on the Switch and the new Switch, be a launch title.
Right. And I also wanted to just say this because I don't know where I saw it at. It's all the information that we shared for this episode, but somewhere in there I saw something that said it's almost guaranteed that they will have a direct next month to go over Q1 2024 to be like what comes out next year. And as we saw in that report, let me get to it. Crap, I lost it. It showed like the Luigi's Mansion 2, the Princess Peach game, Metroid Prime 4, except Metroid Prime 4, but those Mario games had a 2024 release date. Here we go, found it. So like Pikmin all the way to RPG is 23, and then Luigi's Mansion and I love it says Princess Peach. The to be decided title is Princess Peach will star as the main character in a brand new game. I just love that. But yeah, those two games are 24. I think Metroid Prime will be I do agree. It'll be a co-release title for the Switch and this new console. Yeah. So
most likely, yeah. And again, this is exciting. Hopefully they make the right decisions with this. I'm already a little annoyed that they're doing an LCD portable screen instead of an OLED. I think OLED just looks better compared to LCD.
And for those that don't know, real quick, I'm going to just quickly give the gloss over version of the difference. LCD screens use backlights overlaid with a layer of liquid crystals. An OLED screen, the light is emitted using diodes and works without a backlight. So it provides a better picture quality.
Contrast.
And consumes
It's nicer.
It also consumes less power, but it is a more expensive option.
Yeah. Deeper black.
And I'm guessing they want to keep the cost down. I mean, if I remember correctly, the original Switch cost $300, and then the OLED cost like what, $350, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So my guess is they'd like to keep the next Nintendo console at about the same price, maybe $300. I'd say $400 at the most. But that'd be pushing it. Now, I think they would like to keep it at an affordable $300 if they can.
They should have two versions, to be honest. They should have an LCD and an OLED. That's just
yeah, but Nintendo doesn't like doing that. They like, well, let me rephrase. They like doing it, but not at launch. They like offering the different console later in the life cycle where it's a little bit better.
Right. And so that brings me to something I want to talk. So one of the rumors for this new console was that it's supposed to be as powerful. The Tegra chip has been working like crazy for the Switch, but they're going to replace it with something that's supposed to be as powerful as a PS4 or Xbox One.
Which I hate that. Let me explain. This needs to be on the level of PS4 Pro and Xbox Series X. Xbox One X. I understand if it's not going to be as powerful as a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, that's fine with me. It needs to be at least as powerful as a PS4 Pro, though. We got to get to that level.
It's just the rumor, but it may be. But what I'm getting at is that, and I talked about this a bit before the stream. I think now is the time to talk about this. Companies like Atlas, who have been trying their best to find out how to port things, but just don't know how to. Let's be real, they don't. Them porting to other platforms is weird. Their release system is weird. But the two right now that don't have a port to Switch, at least Nintendo Switch, is P3 Reload and the fantasy game that they're working on. And I truly do think if this console comes out next year, I think that's when those games will come to Nintendo, is with a more powerful system that can constantly run those games. Some have said it's because it's on the Unity engine. There have been games that have been optimized for Switch on the Unity engine. I don't think these games have been. So they're willing to just wait for the hardware to get better instead of compromising the game. They're willing for the hardware to get better and then release them on the better hardware.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're just in an interesting place. Now, here's the question: when are they going to actually announce the next Switch console? I know, Meta. There was a rumor that it might be at Gamescom. I don't see that happening because Nintendo does not like to announce that kind of stuff at an event like that. They like doing their own thing.
Not anymore.
Well, let me explain though. Like, because when they announced I think they announced the Wii U at E3, didn't they?
Yes.
And then with the Switch, they announced
randomly,
like a shadow drop. Like
they just dropped the commercial.
Image. They put out a teaser image, and then the next day they dropped the video.
Yeah.
But by that point, though, Nintendo had gone fully in-house with their directs and all that, so they completely left E3. They were all self-sustaining by that point. But every system up to the Wii U, they announced at an event. I think it's an interesting rumor. I really do. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It would be cool if it happened. It would probably be the biggest shock of Gamescom. In all honesty, it would blow everything else out of the water, and all eyes would be on Nintendo.
Yeah. My only caveat, though, personally, I don't think Nintendo wants to announce new hardware until next year, closer to launch. Personally speaking, I think they want to wait until, because they want their fall
Didn't they wait
slate.
like a week or so between the announcement and the release date for the Switch? It was a really short time window.
No, it was like close to what, like 4
3 months.
It was about like 4
because they announced it October, and then they had a press conference in January, and then they launched it in March.
Yeah,
right?
It's just that window just felt like it went by so fast that it just felt like it was a shorter time span.
They liked keeping it nice and short. They didn't want there to be too much of a waiting period. So personally speaking, if this is launching in the fall, let's say October to December, most likely I'd say October, November.
For the holidays.
Or the holidays. I would guess an announcement would come sometime in early spring. And then maybe at E3 around June, be a full unveiling potentially. They may even
June or July.
Yeah,
if it comes out in November.
June to even make the announcement. They won't do a showcase until like a September direct. Because like I said, I think they want this fall to be focused on the new games, especially Mario Wonder. They're gonna go all out for marketing with that game.
Yes.
Because it's their big game this year for the fall. And then next year, like I said, probably a softer year for Nintendo, I feel like. But you will see Luigi's Mansion, the Princess Peach game, kind of carry that first half of 2024. So we will see when it comes to that. But yeah, it's exciting. I mean, again, hopefully, I think they're very nervous because the Switch has been so successful for them. It's always tricky to try and launch a new console and migrate that user base over. But hopefully if they do the right steps necessary in terms of backwards compatibility, making it seem like a true upgrade, and having some really good launch games that will entice customers to come over, I think they'll be okay. Because you got to imagine, if the Switch 2, if the successor to the Switch is launching next fall, they got to have some kind of big exclusive, something that's really going to wow people. It's like, okay, I got to buy this at launch.
Probably a 3D Mario or a Mario Kart 9, something like that.
Or potentially maybe a Donkey Kong game. Is Donkey Kong big enough to push new hardware?
I think at this rate, it has to be something Mario or Zelda, which we know Zelda's not going to happen. So I'm going to say Mario. Just makes no sense. Which
goes into kind of what I wanted. Another thing, real small thing I wanted to talk about. So there are some Mario games that are not available on the Switch. The biggest one I think is from a previous Mario title is like Super Mario Galaxy 2 HD. Like, I think we could see that in the future fill a Mario slot in the future. Right. It's not gonna be like the big title. I think honestly, you make Odyssey 2, that'll sell the new Switch. That'll be a 3D Mario game that would sell.
Oh, like if it's a brand new 3D Mario game right at launch. I mean, because think about it, right? The Switch launched with Breath of the Wild being a day-and-date game, right? So, and I think Metroid Prime 4 will be a day-and-date game. I do believe that for Switch 2.
Possibly.
That's my opinion. I think
they may even make a Metroid version of the console. I don't know. I'm just hype. I'm just using.
I mean, maybe a collector's edition or something. Yeah, it's a possibility.
I just think Metroid is still too niche.
That's what I was going to
yeah.
get to. I think that Metroid Prime 4 will be a launch game for the next Switch, and it'll be on the regular Switch.
Yeah, something
but
like that.
I think they need something else that's just exclusively on the next gen console. Whether it be a new Mario game, a 3D Mario.
I think if they wanted to sell really bad, Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 9 has. I really believe that game is finished. Like the fact that we,
because like
I think
Mario
I
Kart
think
8, man, they've been working on the DLC for that exclusively. It feels like
this is my theory. My theory was that Mario Kart 8 was a hold off, and they didn't realize that it was going to sell really well. And later on, because it kept selling, they were like, okay, we're going to make DLC for it and just hold the next one for the next system, right?
Yeah.
And then that way you would have more people who are like enticed to
You
buy
have
the
your
next
cake
console.
and you're eating it too.
Yeah, that was the problem with the Wii U. I think the Wii U didn't have a big game. It had the 2D Mario, the new Super Mario Bros. But at that point, in that same year, we just got one for the 3DS, and so it just looked like, do you really need a Wii U?
it didn't feel like it was something exciting.
Plus,
right?
the new Super Mario Brothers franchise got really stale really fast.
Yeah, like I said, they released the 3DS game in the same year as the Wii U game. That was dumb. They should have never done that. It was just oversaturated.
But as far as Metroid being a launch title though, like Dread sold over 3 million units for Nintendo Switch, which apparently
that's good, but it's not.
It's close to the level of success though that Three Houses sold, which for Metroid that's impressive.
But it's not. It's not Mario.
It's not. I get what Braille's saying here. It's not. It's gonna do.
It's not a system seller.
But it's not the kind of game that's like. Because think about it, the Switch succeeded because not only did it entice the hardcore gamers, but also the families. Why? Because it's Mario and it's Zelda. It has to be one of those two pillars, and my guess is it will be a Mario game. Now, this year, we're getting a new 2D Mario game. So I think more likely...
And a Mario RPG.
And a Mario RPG remake. So I could see one or two things happening. Probably next fall, a new 3D Mario game. Or Mario Kart. I think those are the two likely choices. Personally, I'd probably prefer a new 3D Mario game because I think it's been enough time. I want to see what that team's been working on.
I agree with that.
Because Bowser, we all said that we all agreed that Bowser's Fury was like just the next, like what 3D Mario games are experimenting on becoming.
Right.
Do you guys think? Question: do you guys think if a certain Mario game were like remade with like Mario RPG, would that be a reason to buy the new one or no?
No,
like if the 1,000-year door got a remake,
they did that though with the DS. It didn't really work out.
Well, let me ask this potentially. This is pie in the sky. It'll probably never happen. But what if they came out and said, for the next Switch, fall 2024, launch games will be Metroid Prime 4 and a new 3D Mario game. But a couple months later, early 2025, here is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker remake. Or some kind of Zelda remake of something. Like some kind of 3D Zelda, but it's a remake.
To be honest, I think if they were to I think Wind Waker, I mean, you don't really need to remake it. The only way I could see...
Well, that's just one example. It could be like a remake of some Zelda game.
I think the remake that would sell would be Link Between... Link to the Past. That's the one I think they should remake. Or
Ocarina of Time remake.
Yeah,
they kind of already did that though, didn't they?
They could do Ocarina of Time too. I think those two games, and this is the remake, it can't just be a straight up 1-to-1. What they would have to do is, I think they should make a traditional Zelda game or a previous Zelda game in the style of Breath of the Wild, in terms of it being an open world game with a bunch of things to do in it.
Ooh, man, that'd be interesting.
Because that would be, it would be interesting.
So you wouldn't do like a Link's Awakening style remake where it's still 2D? You do something completely different?
Completely different. It's a 3D game. Maybe it's Ocarina of Time, but it's open world. There's more things to do in it, but it's the same story, the same characters, same dungeons, but
and Majora is just like Majora is just actually like a part of the story this time, because now there's no need for it to be a separate game.
Well, I mean, if you want to have like a giant,
if you want to get that adventure,
because that would be like a massive game. But yeah, I think that's what I would like to see personally. Not that it's going to happen,
but that's pie in the sky. That's just me theorizing, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's ask this then. Okay, if they're making a new system, which it seems like they are for next year, is there any possibility that, well, first off, let's do this. What are they going to call it? What are they going to call the system?
Nintendo Swap.
Nintendo Swap.
Nintendo Switch
No.
Swap.
They're not getting rid of the
Nintendo
Switch
Switch
name.
Swap.
I think Switch is too good of a name. Here's my
Yeah, it
prediction.
is.
My prediction is they will call the system the new Nintendo Switch. That's it.
Oh,
New
man.
Nintendo Switch.
That sounds like Wii U territory.
I know, but I think when it comes to their
I was
naming,
thinking of
they're
the
not
U
great with
Switch. So I mean,
The one that I like that I keep seeing, I don't think they'll do this, but it's really cool, is Super Switch. Just like a
Super Switch
throwback.
would be cool, yeah.
Yeah. I
The
mean, but I see
Super
it so
Switch.
often. Well, I'm like,
I
they
could
can't
see
do
that though,
that.
like Super Nintendo Switch.
It's just like a throwback. It's kind of cool.
we have the Super
yeah.
Nintendo and we have the Super
Yes.
Nintendo Switch.
Switch. Yes. Yeah. So I was like,
Will they just call it
see.
Switch 2? Nintendo Switch 2.
We've never done numbers.
I know
They've
they've
never done numbers, but I mean, this could be a time to do it.
No, they will never like.
Yeah,
No,
I can't.
I don't
it
see that happening.
Because this is another thing too, right? Is if this console, I mean, a lot of the reports that's been going on seem very vague to me, and it sounds like, okay, is this thing just an upgraded Switch, or is there going to be a gimmick? Because Nintendo has always, I mean, outside of like the GameCube, they've always
They
had a
have
gimmick,
to add
right?
something new to add
Yeah.
throw in the mix. But what do you change about the Switch where you keep the same portability aspect and like portable and then moving it to TV mode?
Yes,
but you
that's
changed
the thing
enough
I don't
of
know.
it.
I'm
What do
thinking
you
of a
what do you
software-
add to make it more interesting?
I'm thinking of a software update, not so much a hardware update. But hey, Nintendo, you know, since this is going to be like a PS4, can you finally add parties, please?
See,
Add
that's what I was
parties.
going to ask too, because that's the other thing too. Will Nintendo truly embrace an online infrastructure? Will we get themes? Will we get achievements? Will we get better?
God, I really want there to be achievements.
Is there going to be like an actual online party system built into the console itself instead of being on an app? Those are questions to ask if they're going to like try and do something like
they don't
that.
have achievements. It's because they don't have achievements as to why. Like when I've started, you know, I'm doing my reviews. I don't have a lot of Nintendo games to start off with because there's no way to like checkmark your progress. Like I can't do that.
My guess is probably not. Nintendo will always be Nintendo, or if they do, it's going to be done in a very Nintendo way where it's not really what anybody wants.
The online, they embrace the online subscription service with Nintendo Online, and it is.
They did, but not the same level of like. I'm
That's
talking
what I'm
about
saying,
like
they
will
did
it be like at least PS4 levels of online functionality?
They did it in a
bit.
very Nintendo way, and they know that they have the library that people love to back that up, which is why they keep adding. Hell, we reacted to part of that earlier this year when they announced that N64. They announced N64, but then they announced Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games were finally coming to Switch Online. We all lost our shit over that.
Yeah, because it's cool.
Yeah, but like that's how they sell their online is with their legacy content.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're getting their legacy content. I mean, there's the GameCube you still have to do, but after that, it's Wii and DS. So it's like, how do you do DS?
I think we talked about this before, but the GameCube is it has such a loyal, diehard fan base. I think they're just going to remake GameCube games. I'm not saying that it may not ever come to online, but I think we're going to see a lot of GameCube remakes and remasters,
right?
Because we saw a good few of them this generation. And I think more are to come. We've heard that, again, Thousand Year Door is supposed to be getting a remake. I've heard that like an F-Zero game is getting a remake. Yeah, I heard that that's getting a remake to try to test the waters to bring that franchise back, which good luck with that one. But
then outside of that, I mean, like, do you want Star Fox Adventures? A remake of that or a remaster?
Well, not really that, but like hell.
Maybe Kirby Air Ride. That'd be
Eternal Darkness.
God. Kirby remake.
Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. I would love that on a modern system.
I don't think Nintendo owns that anymore. Actually,
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that is That is
my big request. This is my big, honestly, like
or Poltergeist.
in terms of the gimmick. I don't know what else they're gonna add to this because they're gonna throw in a gimmick of some kind, like the next evolution of Switch. What do you change? Because remember, from Wii to Wii U was it's the Wii, but now you have a tablet, right?
And that Wii U was just a prototype Switch.
Basically, yeah, in a way. So it's like, what's the gimmick gonna be? That we're never gonna be able to predict that. The only request I have, Nintendo, is just one of two things. One, make the hardware look nice. Let's make sure that the controllers work really well. Can we make sure that our accessories carry over as well? Can my Pro Controller work on the next Switch? Can my third-party Pro Controller work on the next Switch, successor console? My other question would be two things. One, can we please get themes already? Can you make the eShop have some music?
We don't need themes, though.
And third, can you make sure that your online functionality is built within the console itself so I don't need to go to an app? Or just let it all be on there. Just let the console speak for itself. Don't have make me go to an app. I don't know. There's things that I think Nintendo won't do, but I would just hope that they would take some feedback and make some improvements because I think there's a lot they could fix to make it better.
I mean, there's two ideas. I don't think it will happen, but what do you think about if this Switch had a VR capability?
No.
Oh, like built into the system?
They did. Because that would be a gimmick. Labo. Yeah, but I don't know. The thing is, they tested it out with Labo, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, it comes like a headset, so where you can plug in your Switch during certain moments, and it'll be like a VR segment or something.
Right. Something like that. Because I think it needs a gimmick. I think it needs a gimmick to sell. Because if you just do another Switch, I think you're going to have another Wii U, right? Where it's like, okay, the Switch sold really well, but people didn't carry over to the next one because they didn't understand it. And Nintendo likes to do that. Like the Japanese business mindset is really interesting because they do this with games too. If a game doesn't sell, they believe it's because it's mechanically not interesting enough, right? And not because of like the marketing or because people... the various Western beliefs of why a game doesn't sell.
They think it's because it wasn't interesting enough. That there's something that they like.
The gameplay wasn't interesting enough.
Yeah.
Which is why Chibi Robo hasn't seen a game since the 3DS.
Yeah, and that's why they do gimmick games.
Nintendo jail.
Right. Yeah. Like all their games are gimmicky, kind of. Right. So.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm nervous about this because, I feel like they might go too far. Because I think they want to keep the gimmick of portability. That's a must at this point.
They combined their profitability from portables because they've always made more with portable consoles. They're portable handhelds.
They combined their two console markets together. So
yes, and that was ingenious of them. They finally combined both and had the best of both worlds. They need to keep that. And they're going to keep that, I think.
But
they'd be stupid not to.
Yeah. But the question is, what do they add to it? And that's going to be whenever they unveil the console, we'll see.
Hell, you stack two on top of each other? I don't.
Like that's a lot of people were saying that, right? Where it's the thing is, if you think about it, right? Because the Switch, the way it was marketed, it was like you have two controllers, right? And two people can play. So what happens if they had a console that it was like two consoles?
Oh, like you combine the two consoles and it makes it even you can do even more
powerful because you're combining two.
No, not like that. Because that'd be stupid.
Not like that. But like a DS, but you can break it off and you can give someone else and you can play on one screen together.
So instead of it just being a controller, you can split the console in half.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking of what could they do.
Oh, I kind of see. So what if they do it like this to where it's the same console, but one person maybe they do it via Bluetooth where you take it out of the Switch still, but it's connected to both the TV and the portable console. Where if one person wants to use the TV to play a different game, but
they did that with the Wii U.
Yeah, but
this one would be better version of that. Yeah, the Wii U, the limitations of it was you can't leave, right?
Yeah, let's say Dad wants to play Zelda on his big screen TV, but the kids want to play Mario Kart. Well, they can still do that on the same console. You just take the portable part of it out. But
that could be something.
Yeah, something where it's more cooperative, right? Where it's not. Oh, Dad wants to watch TV, but no, Dad wants to play a video game on the same Switch, right? So you don't have to buy two. But then I don't know. Then I don't know what they could do. Yeah, that would hurt the sales, right? So Yeah, I don't know what they. I mean,
This is
another
the fun
thing
of
is
speculation. This is the fun of it because it's like, what could they do? And mean, like, can we just admit though that whatever they come up with is going to be so Nintendo, and it's going to be something we would have never thought of in a million years.
It's how Nintendo always does it. They always go for like the very weird, like, okay, nobody was expecting this way to go, you know?
Right, or maybe like a foldable device.
Oh,
you know how like
that'd be
now
interesting. Yeah,
like the foldable phones,
like the Samsung flip phones that have come back, where it's like you can switch. Like,
God, flip phones
like the
returned.
switches, like the portable aspect.
Right.
Oh, that'd be interesting actually. Where it basically be like a DS kind of style, where like there's a top and a lower screen if you move the console a certain way.
So they would make the console bigger by adding another screen.
No, like it's
not really another
screen. One big screen, but they have in portable mode has the capability to like be flipped, like you can like a flip phone.
The Nintendo Flip.
Right. I don't know.
That
they
actually
gotta
makes
do something. Yeah.
Going from Switch to Flip actually does make.
Switch to Flip.
I'm just playing on my Nintendo Flip.
Oh man.
Flip. Yeah, I don't know. The name is going to be an issue. I can tell you right now.
The name
an issue.
Because
Nintendo always does the weird thing. They never go for the conventional naming. They never go for the conventional, just making a better console with better graphics. Maybe they will though. Maybe they don't want to mess with it because Switches is so popular. They don't want to like taint it. They just want to keep it going for as long as they can.
Another thing that I was also thinking of that is kind of gaining momentum is AR. The one thing the Switch doesn't have is a camera. Which is weird because the 3DS and the DSi.
Actually, that would make like it's the same console, but it has AR capabilities in portable mode.
Right.
That
then you
actually
can do
might
a lot
be
of
the
different
easiest
games
gimmick
like
they could add. Actually,
and you could do Pokemon shit with AR.
Oh my god, yeah. Where it's basically just like AR mode with
it's Pokemon Go on your Switch.
Oh my god, yeah, that would make a lot of money. Actually, thinking about that.
yeah, I wonder. I wonder. There's. Because I'm like, what could they do that's interesting?
Like, basically, you can add a phone.
I mean, one that I came up with just out of the top of my head was like Nintendo U Switch. Like, it just add the U from Wii U.
Right.
But the AR capability, though, it would be an interesting thing they could do. It's just how they implement that, if they add that. Because what I would love to know, because these rumors are like, it's this, and this. I'm like, but okay, what does it look like? What are the prototypes? What does the dev kit look like? I that's one thing about the PS5. When the dev kit leaked, I was like, what the hell is this thing? And I'm like, I'm so curious to see how the Switch, or that's the Switch's sequel or successor, the dev kit looks, because apparently those are already out in the wild for developers.
Right.
And yeah, I think that I think that for 2024, I do see like they're gonna have that space. If this is truly the swan song though for the Switch, we know that we're getting, Luigi's Mansion 2, Princess Peach game,
and Metroid Prime potentially.
And Metroid Prime, I still say that will be a cross-platform title. If you're not going to have Zelda and Mario launch a title or launch a Switch, I think Metroid recently has proven that it can be that swap out with Zelda to hit that. The
mature demographic.
Yeah, the mature. I think that at least Metroid can do that. So Mario and Metroid, M&M hitting it on the new system. If it's going to be a 3D Mario game or not, that's up for debate. But, like, what do we think? I guess let's do this, because we will know probably sometime next month, around the time of Gamescom, and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, that September Direct will be very interesting to see what they.
Yeah, so I guess, like, do we want to try to make predictions of what we could see, or what we would like to see Nintendo's swan song for the Switch to be?
What kind of games for the final year?
Yeah, what games for the final year would we want to see?
Remasters and ports.
Remasters and ports will probably be the big thing. I mean, that's the most logical thing of what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's
we're not going with logic. We're going with what do we want to see.
Well, realistically...
Well, that's what I want to see, to be honest.
Okay. Realistically, my mindset is, okay, we're going to get Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, Princess Peach game, probably some remasters and ports. The one game...
Fire Emblem remake.
Probably a Fire Emblem remake, another Fire Emblem game. The one pie in the sky game I would actually like to see for the Switch's swan song year a Star Fox game of some kind. Sometime in the summer, probably.
I mean, Braille has been saying he thinks he wants Star Fox Zero on the Switch.
Just do it. Just do it.
But with new content, it has to be like new content of some kind where it feels like a new game. I don't want it just to be Star Fox Zero by itself.
Well, they've done that with like the Kirby game, you know, like they've done that before. Like, I just think
Donkey Kong and all of them. Yeah.
In that case, then, like, so we have the 2D Mario game and a Mario RPG filling out the fall of this year, and we have Luigi's Mansion and a Peach game filling out some portions of 2024. So are we comfortable with what Mario is coming out with in these next, the end of this year, into next year?
I would say so. I think Mario is pretty much covered for the rest of the Switch's life cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and Zelda kind of is too, because we got Tears of the Kingdom. Like, we're good, to be honest. Unless they do DLC for next year for Tears of the Kingdom, which they could.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do that.
Like,
so Mario and Zelda are taken care of for the rest of the Switch's life cycle. And the other franchises, I don't know, because Mario Kart DLC will be done by then too. That's something else to consider.
So this is something again that shout outs to at Nintendo Feed on X. I hate that so much. Anyway,
X and
he sent this tweet out, and I shared it with y'all. But he said, it's not often that there's a month that doesn't include a first-party release from Nintendo. This August is one of those months. However, that could change. Nintendo likes to shadow release games. Metroid Prime 2 Remastered is rumored. I would love if Prime 2 was the August game. He says, well, Nintendo doesn't have a game launching this month. Even like nothing at all. So
yeah,
do they shadow drop? Do they shadow drop 2?
They could this month. I mean, that's not possible. It's not impossible.
I say September.
Yeah, I think
there's no game in September.
They already have.
I think they want it to be shown during Nintendo Direct. So
but they have Pikmin 1 and 2. You think they'll shadow drop it? You think they? No, I mean physical.
Yeah, I mean, like they kind of did that with Metroid Prime, right? So the release date was apart.
Okay, so you think that they'll have the Direct, and at the Direct they'll shadow drop Echoes? At that point, should they not just shadow drop 2 and 3?
Maybe they could, but I think they want to space it out because they want to space it out between Metroid Prime 4. So they may wait. I don't know though.
Yeah, to build up hype. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because I'm a little confused. I feel like it would have been best to release 2 in the summer and then
3 this fall. We've talked about that, bro. Like, that would have been the best.
But hey, Nintendo going to Nintendo, so.
Well, I mean, even then, like both GBA games for Metroid are not on Switches Online, so you can even add the other Metroid game to Switch Online to fill that void.
Right. Which is just Zero Mission?
Yeah, or no, I think it's the Metroid Prime 4. Not Metroid, excuse me, Metroid 4 is the only one. I don't think.
Well, are there any like?
I thought Fusion was already on there.
Fusion,
one of the two wasn't on there.
No, Fusion is on the Nintendo Switch Online now. Yeah.
So it's Zero Mission. They don't have the remake of 1. So you can even put the remake of 1 on your online service to fill that Metroid gap until we get to Prime 4, if you wanted to.
Right.
But Metroid, I do think those re-releases in Metroid Prime 4 are Metroid pretty much covered. I think Nintendo would be really dumb to not do what they did with Pikmin 4 by releasing the previous games on the system. And it seems like they are going to. It really does seem like they're going to do that. It's just that the 2 and 3 will be ports and not full remasters like 1 was. If the rumors of that are true. So I'm going to say Metroid is covered. So Mario's covered, Zelda's covered, Metroid's covered. Fire Emblem, I'm going to say Fire Emblem is covered because they had a game come out this year.
Well, Fire Emblem, they always go overboard.
I still would love a remaster of Awakening.
Dude, like if they do a remaster or like what they're doing with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon with Awakening, it's over. Like, take my money. I'm good. I'm buying that day one. I want to play Awakening on like a modern console with modern graphics. It'd be amazing.
It would be really good. Yeah.
Same with Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus
too. I think at one point in time they have to do something like this, and that is to remake Earthbound. That's the one thing I've always wanted.
No, it's never. They're not touching that franchise. Listen,
because I think if the only way we'll get Mother 3 is if they remake Earthbound, it sells well, and then they'll remake Mother 3. Because Mother 3, it's never going to come out, even though it's done. They could easily port it.
I always said the easiest way to do it is if they put Mother 3 on Nintendo Switch Online. But
yeah, but they're not going to because it's culturally insensitive. That's what they say.
I mean, they could censor it, but whatever. Whatever.
Anyway, I mean, they did that with Star Fox 2. Star Fox 2 was a finished game that never released, and they found a way to release that.
On Nintendo Switch Online, yeah.
No, through the Super Nintendo Mini.
Oh, yeah, Super Nintendo Mini, then Nintendo Switch Online.
Nintendo Switch Online. So it is possible, but...
I would love an Earthbound remake, though. And it looks like Link's Awakening. It would be so good.
God, yeah.
If we had, oh my God, since we're talking about ports and remasters, they already have Tropical Freeze on the system. It sold decently well.
It sold pretty well, actually.
Yeah, this is the other one they should do too.
Remaster the first one.
Yes, I don't understand why they haven't done that.
Or port the first one. Donkey Kong Country Returns. Like that's a
it was on the Wii. So
yeah. And the 3DS.
Yeah, I don't see why they haven't done that. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could really remake Donkey Kong Country.
They could.
Oh my God, no! I don't know. That'd be crazy. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see, man. Like I said, my pie in the sky for the Switch's Song year next year. I'd like a brand new Star Fox game. I don't think it's too much to ask for, but I don't know. I just don't know what else they could come out with. Like that's the only thing. I mean, maybe like another Mario sports game. I mean, what other sports have they not done?
Strikers,
basketball.
Golf.
They haven't done basketball yet, and they haven't done baseball, right?
Yeah,
golf. But the other ones did not sell that well.
Yeah, they're still gonna. I still think they can come out with one now. Because typically during like a Nintendo console's like last years, they do come out with a sports game of some kind for Mario. So I could see it being kind of like a shovelware kind of basketball or baseball game.
I just think if we're talking about a franchise that I want to be pie in the sky, Swan Song, I think I would like something because Metroid's kind of covered. I would like Donkey Kong to have something.
I know. I want Donkey Kong to get some love too. Oh, you know what though? Maybe they'll come out with another Yoshi game. It's been a while since the last Yoshi game.
We need Wario World to come back.
Or a Wario game. A 3D Wario game would be... Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, because that's the one. I mean, they keep doing this WarioWare, and I'm like a little disappointed. Like
it sells okay, but like like a Wario, like the Wii had like the last Wario Land.
Yeah, Wario Land and World. Yeah.
And then Wario Land Shake It was on the Wii, and that was a pretty good one. So Wario would be another good choice, I'd say. An actual like Wario platformer.
Yeah. Because during like the last year of a Nintendo console, they do like to get kind of weird and just throw stuff out there. So anything could really happen.
I mean, hell, we were all shocked that it was Mario RPG coming out this fall. So
yeah, because it was amazing. I never thought that would happen. I really didn't. I never thought
none of us did. That's the whole point.
Because the whole relationship between Nintendo and Square, which I guess it's kind of healed lately. So
Final Fantasies have been coming to Switch nonstop. So I would say it's healed, but it's like, has it been healed enough to where that would be another? Because honestly, could you imagine if that sells well and we get Super Mario RPG 2?
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Don't give me hope.
I still want
a new Paper Mario, like a true Paper Mario game.
Yeah.
Again, if they remaster Thousand Year Door, that's another beloved GameCube game that would be on the new systems.
Right. Another thing that is being rumored to happen is Legends Unova game with Pokemon. So I wouldn't mind a port of Black and White.
Yeah, I forgot about that. What are they going to do with Pokemon? Because isn't the rumor that next year we may be getting a Gen 4? Gen 5 remake? Yeah,
Unova. That's it's not a remake, but they're trying to say that the next Legends game is going to be that. It's going to be in Unova. So
that'll be will it be modern day Unova or will it be
ancient?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Because the last remakes we got, because weren't the last Pokemon remakes we got Diamond and Pearl?
Yeah, and they were not received well.
But they sold like hotcakes. So
They sold very well, though.
They sold like hotcakes, but they were not received. It's one of those things. I really don't think that critics like, oh, this is terrible, and then fans like don't care. Pokemon.
Yeah, black and white right now, I think, has a huge nostalgia. Like it's been
Black
more
and
than
White's
10
one of the
years.
most beloved Pokemon games ever. So like they got to be careful with that because like you don't do those games right. If you remake them, people are gonna be pissed.
Now the question is, do they remake just the first game, or do they remake both into one definitive game?
I think you gotta do both. You gotta do
both is one definitive game.
Yeah, because they're different games. They involve different characters, and it's a different map. So just do both. You have to do both. It's not. It's not like a platinum situation.
Will there be a with those? So with those with the Gen 5 remake or the Arceus Lenovo, would that be fall 2024 on the new Switch, or would that be
possibly
on the old?
That might happen.
We could see a Pokemon game launch on the new Switch. I'd say that's highly likely.
I think that's likely because do you remember when the Switch launched? There was a rumor, and I think this rumor kind of got confirmed that Nintendo was going to make I think it was a Gen 7. Was it Gen 7? The Sun and Moon. They were going to make it was going to be called Pokemon Stars. And for whatever reason, they canceled it. And so people were like, oh, was it real or not? And then years later, we found out that it was real. And they canceled it for an unknown reason. So I hope that they bring a Pokemon game there day one. Because then that's another reason. If you can't do Mario, then do Pokemon. Because that's going to sell.
Yeah, Pokemon can be a system seller for a new console. Yeah. That's true.
Which they've never done before, which is crazy.
You gotta make it better than Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Scarlet and Violet. It's interesting. People love those games and the story and the characters. The issue with that game isn't like the game itself. It's more like the technical performance of the game. That's the issue.
Right.
How it runs and how it performs. People actually liked what that game was doing in terms of like refreshing the Pokemon formula, and people really liked the story and the characters. It was just that the technical issues bogged that game down, which I think they've been slowly trying to fix it. I don't know what's the
I don't know if they really
but Nintendo really just needs to give the Pokemon not even that. The Pokemon company needs to give Game Freak more time to work on these games.
They'll never do that though. They'll never do that. They can't. They always have to have a game come out a year. They will never do it, sadly. It's sad. It's sad, but they won't. Because isn't the Pokemon DLC coming out this fall?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
one of them is.
And the next one's early next year, I think.
Yeah, early spring. So that's another part of Nintendo Switch's lineup is Pokemon DLC.
Right.
So there is that. And yeah, I think that honestly, I do hope they keep Pokemon Legends like as a series going, because Arceus is so much fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
The bits that I've played, it's fun. It's really fun.
If that game was completely expanded and it was almost like a traditional Pokemon game, but with those mechanics and everything, it would be a fantastic game.
Yeah. A lot of interesting things going on with Nintendo, guys. And I think hopefully with the September Direct that's rumored to be happening, hopefully some things get more into focus for their fall slate and early next year as well. And then we'll see what happens. But it does seem like the future Nintendo is upon us next year. Next year, man. Next fall, we're getting
Nintendo. Nintendo really does set the precipice, in my opinion. Like the Switch, in the era of PS4, Xbox One, Switch came out and absolutely blew everything out of the water. Even though it wasn't as powerful of a system, Nintendo proved power doesn't matter. If you have fun games and a system that the portability really is what sold the Switch. That was the biggest reason the Switch has sold so well. And now you're seeing things like the Steam Deck come out to try to not really compete with it, but it's another portable console sort of situation.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
So,
but yeah, things are going to be very interesting, but I think it's going to wrap it up for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening in. Let us know what you think about the future of Nintendo, the prospects of a next Nintendo next-gen console. What games would you like to see for the final year of the Switch and for launch of a potential next console? What do you think it's going to be called? What kind of wacky name or gimmick is Nintendo going to come up with? I have no clue, but hey, it should be fun from there. But of course, I was your host for today's episode, RJ, Mr. Resident Justice himself. You can find me at Resident Justice on all social media platforms, including X is gonna give it to you. Threads, Blue Sky, I'm on too. All that good stuff. Yeah, and thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your guys' support. Please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as we continue to grow this channel. Meta, I'll go next to you. Anything you want to shout out and plug before we sign off for the episode?
I knew someone was good. I knew one of us was going to end up making that joke eventually. Anyway, yeah. So I first want to say that this is the second episode, and we're going to put out a tweet about this, or we should have already put out a tweet about it. Anyway, these episodes will be dropping regularly on Fridays, I believe is what we agreed upon. Yes?
I don't remember, but let's just go with that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so Fridays.
Yeah.
Fridays are when these episodes drop. The first episode, because of the THQ Nordic Showcase, it's dropping. It dropped on a Tuesday, but other episodes will drop. So as of the time of us recording this episode should be dropping on the 18th. And of course, we have XCOM coming up next week, or as of the time this recording drops, XCOM will be next week. So
you mean Gamescom, not XCOM.
Thank you, thank you, RJ.
The tactical series of games.
Gamescom will be dropping. We'll be starting Tuesday, and we will be doing a stream for that on this channel. So yeah, again, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell to know when we go live. As far as myself goes, you can find me on my X account at the most meta. You can also find my YouTube channel, Friendly Neighborhood Meta, by typing that in, Friendly Neighborhood Meta, or at Friendly Neighborhood Meta. And then I am on Threads, the dead app.
It deserves so much better. It's actually
Friendly.
decent. They just need to add more features, damn it.
I am friendly_neighborhood_meta. You can find me there using that. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Look forward to Tuesday for us talking about Gamescom. And then episode 3, we'll be talking about everything that went on for Gamescom. So look forward to that.
All right. Nice. Then Blinded, close us out. Anything you need to plug or say?
Yeah, follow me on Threads, the dead app, because I don't use the other one. The other one, the Dead Bird app, because that's also,
Dead Bird app.
Yeah, it's no longer a bird, right? It's, I don't know, a porn site? I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's all
Braille.
I gotta say.
Find him at Blinded Braille on Threads.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for catching episode 2 of Controller Chronicles. And as always, what was that tagline, Meta? Relish the past.
Yeah. So as I always say on my channel, it follows over here. Relish the past, enjoy the present, and embrace the future.
And as always, game on. Bye, everybody.